It's time to take your business to the next level, the boss level. These are the premier business owner strategies and successes being utilized by the industry's top talent today. Rock your business like a boss, a VO boss. Now let's welcome your host, Ann Ganguza.
Hey everyone, welcome to the VO Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Ann Ganguza, along with my very special guest co-host all the way from New Zealand, Miss Jennie Stenhouse. Hey Jennie, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Well, I am really excited because we have been working pretty hard, I think. Well, I know I was recording quite a bit, working on a new project with you with my own voice website. I thought it would be a great time to introduce this voice website to the boss listeners out there. So can you tell us a little bit about this, Jennie?
Absolutely. So Voiceweave offers the system where voiceover artists can create voice sites for Amazon Alexa quite easily. And that means that people can talk and interact and hear about you in your voice. It's a super engaging way to speak with potential customers and also enlarge your marketing reach on a new and exciting platform. There's over 100 million Alexa devices worldwide. So it's quite a good place to position yourself, especially when voice is becoming super common and expected.
Oh, yeah. Well, it makes a lot of sense because this is what we sell. We sell our voice to other business owners. So wouldn't it be great to present our voices with our voice? I think it would be a great way to work in conjunction with a website, a static website that we have, which builds the SEO, as well as having a form of the website available on Alexa. Is it available on other platforms as well?
So right now it's only available on Alexa, but we're definitely looking at enlarging our reach to Google Assistant and Samsung's Assistant, which is Bixby. It's like all things in our current ecosystem, marketing has to be so multi-channel.
Oh, yeah.
But this is just a really interesting channel to position yourself on, especially when not all of your competition might be there yet.
So I'm thinking, how do I even get to a voice website on Alexa? I assume there's some sort of a voice command to get there.
So Alexa offers this thing called Quick Links. So you can quickly add this link to your website and people can click on that and get taken to the skill, which they then enable, or you can ask your device directly, or you can search for it via the skill store. So I already have it enabled on my device, so it makes it it's super easy to start it up. All I need to say is, Alexa, begin Ann Ganguza voiceover.
Ooh.
Good morning.
And there's Ann.
Oh, wow.
Welcome to my voice site. I've got so much to tell you. Let's get started. I can tell you about my voice
Alexa,
itself, my
stop.
career. Thanks for listening. Enjoy your morning.
Oh,
Wow.
Sorry.
Thanks. Such a pleasant voice.
It's delightful, yeah.
So then essentially this is a skill that people have to enable. Is that because I know I've enabled skills on my Alexa, and it's kind of a process where you have to, first of all, I don't know, I guess I just haven't enabled a lot of skills on Alexa, and most of the skills that I enabled maybe a year or so ago, none of them seem to work very well. I don't know if that's just is that just technology that is getting better as time goes on, or is it a developer thing, or?
It's definitely a bit of everything. So yeah, the recognition and the general speech recognition and the back end of Alexa has just come miles from when it wasn't, even a year ago. It's a whole different thing in terms of responsiveness and just what you can access. But it is also a developer thing. So literally anyone can develop a skill for Alexa. They have you have to put it through certification. But those certification things, they are checking for things like general functionality. And basically there's, I would like to say, a reasonably low threshold to getting a skill approved in some senses, but they can be very picky on other things. So yeah, that's why your experience with third-party skills can vary greatly. I would like to say that Voiceweave, we work really hard to ensure that the skill interaction and the model and the coding and when you start the skill, you'll see that it's got beautiful visuals if you're using it on an Echo device, we want to provide a super high quality experience for users because it makes such a huge difference. And one thing that I find particularly delightful about the voiceover skills is just how compelling it is to listen to a voiceover artist versus Alexa's synthetic voice.
Oh,
like
yes.
It's such a rich experience. And the ability to hear about someone's skills and expertise and like even their equipment or past work or listen to their
demos
promo tracks. Demos.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference when they're introduced by you versus like clicking a button or hearing it in Alexa's voice. There's just the level of engagement is just uncomparable.
Well, I think it's really, really interesting because, well, I'll tell you, the prompts that I recorded, I had a lot of prompts. And so there's a lot of options. That's one of the things that I was so impressed with. So not only can people find out more about me, they can find out about my studio, they can find out about my equipment, they can listen to my demos, and I can put, I have like 4 or 5 demos up there. So it's really kind of cool. Oh, and the other thing I thought that was great is that people can request more information. And then it can send an email, a contact email directly to me. So I love all that. I think it's super functional. And I think that also the fact that we need to advertise in different mediums, like you had mentioned before, it really can just help us and help our businesses if we can advertise not only on the web, but also on voice-enabled devices. So if I were to want to have a voice website, what would I have to do to set that up? I mean, what sort of a process is it? Does it take a long time? How does it work for a normal voice talent?
So it is quite a straightforward process, but it does take a reasonable amount of time because, like you say, there's quite a few prompts to answer. And that's mainly because when someone interacts with voice, they don't always follow like a linear, like they're not always going to follow the same path. So someone might jump from one question to another, or they may ask a question that can be asked in multiple different ways. And one thing that we're really trying to encourage in Voiceweave is for people to keep on asking questions to the voice talent. Because obviously the more they hear your voice, the better in your situation. You want people to feel really connected to you. And I think that the process is you sign up via the website, which is voiceweave.com. You get connected with this really cool interface, which makes the list of prompts available. And then the upload process is really easy. So you record a prompt. The prompts are really clear, and then you upload it through this interface. And then what happens is it gets loaded into our back end. Our magical coding owls do their magic. And then we go through a testing process because obviously, like I mentioned before, the end quality of the skill is really important to us. We're not just an automated process. Real people listen to how the skill works, and we want to ensure that it's a high quality product because obviously it's important for you. It's the representation of your voice and brand. So then that happens. It goes through certification with Alexa, which is the only section of the process that we have little control over. So it gets sent away to them. They review it and make sure that it passes their thresholds and meets their guidelines. And then they send it on back and say, yeah, it's live. And then you can share the quick links and globally. So this isn't just if you do it, it's available in the States. You suddenly reach Australia, Canada, Britain, English in India and the US. So
question. I know that you mentioned if it's on, let's say, an Echo device. Like, do you have other capabilities outside of just the voice? Like, I know that there's got to be a visual that goes along with that. Can you also do videos? Because I know a lot of voice talent they do a lot of marketing through videos that they've done.
Yeah, currently the current version doesn't have video support, but it's definitely something that you can produce for Echo devices and the variety of devices that I'm sure will be available in the future, because that's the other thing. This technology is constantly changing. So Samsung's probably quite an interesting example. Samsung is the biggest retail seller of televisions in the world, and they sell more televisions than the top 3 put together. So if you're on and all their TVs.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah.
So all their TVs also carry their assistant. And I think they're going to start carrying Google Assistant. So suddenly you're on everyone's TVs as well. People can just ask their TVs to talk to you. So then, the ease of interaction is the thing that I think is most important to remember with voice. So instead of like getting your phone out of your pocket, searching, how did I spell that again? Or anything like that, you can just talk, ask questions back and forth. And until you try it and see, it's really hard to explain how simple and connected you feel in that sort of experience versus clicking around on a website. But that being said, these things don't happen in a bubble. You support multi-channel marketing.
So I think that's awesome. I mean, the more marketing that we can do to, expand our reach is amazing. So my question is, when you share this link, is it a link where somebody's actually installing the skill on Alexa, or is it just something that magically kind of does that for them, and then they're able to ask Alexa questions about us?
So once you click the link, you have to have confirmation that you want to proceed with enabling the skill, and which it may sound awkward, but it's actually good because otherwise you might end up with things that you don't want. So it is like a protective mechanic, yeah.
Right, yeah.
But then once it's enabled, you can ask all sorts of things. And so you can also do this thing called a one-shot. So you could say, ask Anganguza VoiceOver about her studio, instead of having to say, open Anganguza's VoiceOver and then say,
right, wait,
tell me about you. Yeah. You can go straight to the piece of information that you want, which is like when you think about a conversation, that's often what you want to do. If you can ask a direct question instead of being like, hi, how are you? How was your day? You can just skip to the meat that you want. So the different ways that you can interact with this are really interesting. And the other thing is, imagine if you have it enabled and Alexa app also works on your phone, and you want to show someone else this particular voiceover, or say a boardroom of people who are making a decision about hiring. You can also do it that way. And I'm sure I can't get over how convincing and engaging it is. I'm going to keep saying those words because it's much better, imagine you are presenting to a group of people and you're like, this is the voice I like, and you can play it like that and have the different interactions so people can get a real feel for a bit more of your personality and brand, as well as your voiceover acting skills.
So then I guess as a voice talent, I should emphasize that it would probably behoove you as a voice talent to be as interactive and as, I guess, engaging as possible instead of sounding like it. Because I guess you don't want to sound like Alexa.
Yeah.
Right? Because you want to stand out from Alexa so that when they hear that voice, they're like, whoa, that's a really, I feel like she's in the room with me.
Yeah, that's the exact thing that you hit the nail on the head. It's that thing of like, it is like you're in the room with that person. So that's your moment to have your elevator pitch or your interview process or your casting in a way. So you do want to do your best to sell yourself in all of those prompts, because that's the first thing they're going to hear before they even get to listening to your demo. They're going to hear your voice. And I'm sure that people make decisions so quickly. Like, I wish I should look up this exact milliseconds that it takes people to make decisions. So it's so important to, my mum used to say this to me, is, put your best foot forward. So definitely I encourage people to spend time on recording those prompts and make sure that that's how they want to be presented.
And so now I'm trying to think marketing wise. If I have people that I'm marketing to, I would send them a link in an email to say, check out my website on Alexa. It's kind of a really cool, right now I think it would work because it's such a novel experience and people would be interested to see, well, what does that look like, on Alexa? I'd love to hear it. And I think that alone would, keep people interested in terms of, let's check it out and see what this website is like on Alexa. Because the more I use it, and I have to tell you, I've had Alexa for a few years now, and I bought a couple of Echoes around the house boss because I wanted to be able to talk to my dad, who's in a completely other side of the United States, to have access, video to my husband and I, and we could talk because he couldn't handle the technology that was Skype at the time, or Zoom. And so it made it easy for me to communicate with my dad. And so I'm just trying to think about like all the possibilities of people having access to Alexa where they may not have access to a web browser right in front of them. And that would just make it, again, like, I would be in the room with them. So I think that that's just a really neat idea. Now, moving forward, what other ways outside of that link? I guess you could advertise on your own website too. So in case somebody finds you on the website and you want them to try out your Alexa skill, you could post something on the front page of your website, which I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely has this like novel feeling to it at the moment. But like, I think it will get to a point, say in 2-3 years, where people will be expecting you to have a presence on Alexa or Google Assistant, because like, what happens if you run across a business that doesn't have a website now?
Oh yeah, you're like, what century are they? They're not up to date. Exactly.
No,
they're not current. They're
weird.
not relevant. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think that being in front of that is a good angle to take, because then you get that novel effect. And then you're still leading the way when people do catch up.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so get in front of the technology bosses and get yourself a voice website from Voiceweave. And again, that website is?
It's voiceweave.com.
Voiceweave.com. VoiceWeave.com. You guys check it out. And right now, my website is in beta, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So probably by the time the bosses listen to it, it's going to be released, which will be really cool.
Yeah, it'll be. I really want to see everyone trying it out. And then signing up for their own ones.
Go try my site out. And yeah, absolutely. And I can only imagine like what's in the future for Voiceweave. I mean, I can imagine, now that I was talking about video, that might be a capability that would be really cool. Also expanding onto other platforms. Like I'd love to be on like everybody's platform, Google, Samsung, Alexa. I mean, why not?
Yeah, definitely. So the addition of further functionality as Alexa developers released functionality in sort of like drips and drabs. So they might come out with something super cool like, I have no idea, like you can be more interactive, or maybe there's better notifications. So maybe if a user starts with your skill, they can become like your friend or something, and you can ask them questions. Like the level of interactivity might change. So that would enable us to do more. And then, things like video, of course, other platforms, that's definitely coming.
People could fangirl over,
imagine if you
over our voices and then just talk to us on a day-to-day basis. There's movies made about that, I think.
Yeah, somewhat creepy movies, if I recall.
Yeah,
but.
Exactly. But hey, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so it's basically we'll keep up with what Alexa's doing. We'll expand to other platforms. And we're always delighted to hear from people who interact with Alexa and then like, oh, but what if we did this as an idea? I think the more people who use voice, the better ideas are going to come out of new experiences and better interaction. And I don't think those ideas are always going to come out from people who are currently in the industry. I think one of the most interesting things is as it becomes more mainstream, then people are like, what could we do this weird idea with this? And then like speak to a developer. Yeah.
It just spawns new ideas. And I when I was mentioning about, getting the device from my father, I know that when I was first starting to use it, it was a little awkward, like for me learning, like, what can I ask Alexa? What does Alexa understand? And, over the years, as they've evolved, I'm starting to feel like, Alexa and the smart devices are now more and more part of my life. Even though, some people, again, our whole series of podcasts is how can we protect our voice, right? So how, we don't want the AI robots taking over. We don't want the text to speech, but they're here. And as much as I was feeling awkward about using it, and I'm a tech girl, I really have started to feel like I can't, like I set alarms all the time. I get recipes from Alexa all the time. It's one of those things. When I use it, I find a lot of really good things to use it for. And so I can only imagine the possibilities of having our own voices on Alexa and other devices in the future.
Totally. And I think, like you say, using it more. And my biggest thing is like understanding the system and understanding what like privacy is involved and all of those other things that we speak about means that you can use it better to your benefit instead of it using you. And I mean, my kids interact with Alexa every now and then. She does understand them occasionally asking her to play Baby Shark. So, like the next, the next generation coming through, it's going to be expected,
And speaking in terms of the voice, I know you must have policies and terms that there's no ownership of our voices. We own our own voices and all that. So guys, bosses, check those policies out. Yeah. So good. And so
absolutely.
My question, I guess, after all this, so that Voiceweave doesn't own our voices. We own the rights to our voices here. And in terms of Alexa, because it happens to be a third-party app on Alexa, they don't own it either.
No. So we retain ownership of the contents of the skill. And so that protects your voices, and we definitely don't want to own your voices. That's your data. We're not interested in synthesizing or anything like that. This is much more about having a really good way to get your voice in front of other people. And we just felt that it was an interesting thing to do because, to be frank, I'm quite bored of Alexa's voice. So it was a pleasure to hear all these amazing voiceover artists. And I'm like, I personally never want to use Alexa's inbuilt voice again because it's not good compared to real human voices currently. And so, and that's an experience I've shared with other developers as well. Like the level of engagement and just how, more personal it feels to speak to a real human, and it sets these skills apart, right? Like I'm not going to mistake your voice skill for someone else's. It's your voice. And that I think is something that brands will really latch onto soon, because why would you want your voice, your brand to be represented by the same? It's like McDonald's and Burger King using the same voice actor for their ads. They'd never do it.
Right. So exactly.
I think the same will come in big branding for voice as well. So it's interesting all around, and probably a really exciting time to learn more about it and get involved.
Absolutely. So then how much, is there a ballpark price for this is it based on per prompts? Is it based on, I guess length of your website or the amount of content that you have on your website? How is that pricing?
Well, so it's a subscription and that's so that we can keep the voice site up because there's always ongoing costs into this sort of thing. And they are sort of determined by size. So you get your starter one, which is just 3 audio responses and 1 quick link. And these are all global now. They've upped them to have global reach. And then you have your plus system, which is 10 audio responses and 2 quick links, which can link into different parts. So like the starter one, you just link to the start of the to open it. And then with the plus version, you could link it just to your demos. So say you actually meet someone and they've already spoken to you personally and you're like, oh, they just want to listen to my demos, then you can use this link to get them straight there.
Like Open and Ganguza demos or something like that.
Exactly. And
Got
the
it.
Pro version, you get unlimited audio responses. So this is really good if you have you have like demos that you might have heaps of different types, or you have a particular skill set or something you just want to fill out more to make yourself stand out further. So basically anything you could be asked, you can provide a response to.
So can we have custom prompts made for us? Can I say, I really want people to be able to ask about my coaching services or my demo production services?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's at that pro level.
Oh, okay. Got it. Nice. Wow. Well, I'm super excited. And I'm super excited for the boss listeners out there to check out my website and see what this is all about. Check out voiceweave.com. It's really cool, guys. Make yourselves current, relevant. Get yourself in front of the technology and, your voices are secure and you retain all rights to your voices. So that's important. And I know that I've been talking to Jennie a lot about, rights of our voices and ethics with companies. And so I think this is an amazing start to really, really interesting things to come in the future. So Jennie, thank you so much. I'm so excited to see the future of this to evolve even more for voiceover artists everywhere.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right, bosses, I'm going to give a great big shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL. You too can connect and network like a boss and find out more at IPDTL.com. You guys have a great week and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Join us next week for another edition of VO Boss with your host, Ann Ganguza. And take your business to the next level. Sign up for our mailing list at voboss.com and receive exclusive content, industry revolutionizing tips and strategies, and new ways to rock your business like a boss. Redistribution with permission, coast-to-coast connectivity via IPDTL.